This time in the Quick Speed Shop, I'm going to show you how to spray fluid film. I've got a gun, I got a 5-gallon bucket of it. I've got a large commercial vehicle out back. I'm going to go over how to apply it to different areas like door jambs, frame rails, under the hood, show you the gun I have, and show you the application process. So if you're interested in fluid film or Woolwax or Surface Shield, any of the lanolin-based rust prevention, in this video I can show you how to apply it at home with standard tools. I guess I'll mention my gun. This is a standard fluid film gun. I bought this at Woolwax.com. You can get them at the ruststore.com. Different places, just search fluid film gun or Woolwax gun. I have a 5 horsepower compressor that is 60 gallons. I sprayed about 80 psi. You might be able to get away with less air pressure or volume, like with a smaller compressor. I'm not sure. I've always used a 5 horsepower 60 gallon compressor at 80 psi, and it always works fine. It doesn't overload the compressor. But here's what I use: the fluid film gun, the drum pump, and a 5-gallon bucket. Here's how I buy fluid film. I buy it by the 5-gallon drum or bucket, and then I've got a drum pump that I bought from Harbor Freight, just a cheap one, and I drill a hole in the lid and I use it to fill up my gun. So I've just cracked open a fresh batch here. What I'd like to do is mix it up. I just made a little homemade mixing device here. You could do this with a paint, a paint mixer or whatever, but just use my drill and mix it up a little bit. It's like making butterscotch. Drum pump, simply just got a pump, a standard little drum pump here. Just jam her down up in there, put the lid on, boom. Then the fluid film gun, I just take the top off the gun, and I've got this little spout here. I drilled a hole in the lid so it drains back in. You just pump it right in here. I used to use a funnel and try to pour it by hand. This drum pump works awesome. I don't remember what it's called, but I bought it right at Harbor Freight. It's for any kind of 5-gallon bucket action. So I fill it right up, and then I'm done. I just go and stick it back in there so any excess drains back into the 5-gallon bucket. Put the bottle back on and we're ready to spray. So I've got a large commercial vehicle here. It's a Ford Transit. It's a very large vehicle. Application-wise, a large vehicle like this is going to take over a gallon of fluid film. The standard small to medium-sized car is going to take about 2 quarts. A full-size car, SUV or pickup truck will take about 3 quarts, but this large commercial vehicle is going to take over a gallon. So we're just going to go into the steps. What I do, I sprayed this truck last year, and there's still remnants of it here. I'll show you right quick. I sprayed under the hood and all the jams and everything. You can see that it's still on here. It still stays liquidy, so you can wipe it off. But essentially, under the hood, I'll start here. I spray all the metal areas that are exposed in the fenders. I try to get down inside the fenders and everything. The brake booster, stuff like that, brake lines, all this stuff. Fluid film will not hurt electrical components. You can spray it on the positive battery cable if you want. You can spray it on a computer over here. It protects everything. So I'm going to hit all this here. One important thing to do, cover your windshield. You don't want the fluid film to get on the windshield. I just have this old sheet, as you can see, is pretty grungy, I use for masking things off, and I just lay that over there. I shut it in the doors so it stays on there, and put the wipers over it to hold it on. But I'll keep any under hood fluid film spray off the front windshield because it will streak. But I'm going to go ahead and hit under the hood here with the gun, and then we'll get into some of the door applications. And this year I have a new ramp system. I've had these ramps for a few years. They're like a homemade garage tool for working on cars in your garage if you want to jack them up with a floor jack. But I'm going to ramp up onto this, and then we'll lay under the vehicle and take a look at the underside and spray the bottom underside of that. But now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to spray this with no respirator or gloves or nothing. But when I apply this normally, I wear a respirator so I don't inhale it. Fluid film is non-toxic. It's made out of sheep lanolin, but you don't want to inhale tons of it into your lungs, because if it gums up metal and dirt, it'll gum up your lungs, so I wear a respirator. But for the purpose of talking on the video right quick here, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it real fast, you know, without a respirator on. But put your PPE on so you don't have an issue. I got my gun, I got my air set to about 80 PSI here, and I'll show you just how I spray it on here. Let the wand get down in there, get inside the fenders. Go inside the hood hole, inside the cavities. You'll see with the overspray, that's why you want the sheet on the windshield. We've got under the hood pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll address some of the door areas. The rear door is open. You can see here I've sprayed. Last year I did the hinges and whatnot. And don't worry, if it gets anywhere you don't like it, you can just wipe it right off. Like this wipes off my finger. You can wipe it off with a rag. I'll get the vents here in the doors, or the drains I should say. Try go in the body here, and any holes I find, get down in the quarter panels, in the body work at all places if you can. And it'll creep and run wherever it's got to go. You want to keep it off the rubber. It will swell up door rubber. But any of these like this latch, the spring, I'll hit this. And if there's any big plugs, you can remove them from the doors to get into places I can't get that one out. But we'll do the hinges. We'll do the latch over here. Inside the latch there. Do the same thing with this door. Get inside the latch. Inside the drain. Inside this drain. As you drive the vehicle, the fluid film will creep around in all the edges. In the slider door, I'm going to do the same thing as the rear doors. I'm going to get where everything goes. I got some holes to get in the rockers here. Hit them really good. Do the jam. Okay, I pulled the van up onto the lift here. And before I did that, I went and sprayed the wheel wells here. Pretty good. There's a lot of undercoating in the wheel wells, but I went and hit it really good. Got a good coating on there. You can see I put it on pretty heavy, but it'll dull out and it'll mix with road grime. Got the rear here. I went and stuck the wand in all the holes here on the rails and blew it in. So let's climb under the van. We'll take a look. All right, to make it easier to see, I use a LED light when I'm under a vehicle. Here we got a little bit of shadow, but you can see there's still some fluid film stuck up here. See that? I just wiped it off there with my finger, and it's mixed with some dirt. But like I said, all these frame holes, I'll stick the wand in all that, get this rocker real good. It's pretty much open on these big commercial vans, so it's easy to get to. But if we look over here, like in the center of the vehicle, here the brake lines still have really good coating. This is where a car wash wouldn't really wash it off that much in the wintertime. So it's hanging on good there. And over on this side, still got a lot of sheen here. Towards the front of the vehicle, we've got fluid film mixed with dirt here on the cross member. If I put my finger on it, you can see that. So it's held on good there. and it's got a coating, a little bit of rust. I can't remember if this van had been run through one winter or not without coating. I can't remember if it was or not, but we got very little surface rust here and there on a couple edges and on like the bottom of this where the snow would wear it off in deep snow. But overall, it's pretty good. A little bit on the suspension. Obviously, you want to keep it off the brakes. I try to get a little bit on the backing plates very gingerly, but you don't want it on the rotors or anything. But I do inside the control arms, and it's held on pretty good for the first application of this van, which I'm sure sees a lot of miles, and it looks like they keep it clean, so they've washed it pretty good, so it probably gets sprayed off quite a bit. But it's got a good coating down there already, so the second coating should stick on it fairly well. So just to demonstrate, like I was talking about the rocker panels, I really spray it in good. Try to fog it both ways, and then if you get up in there, if I can get the shadow, as a shadow, but nuts. It's hard to see, but maybe if you can see in there, the yellow back in there, so it goes in there good. You can see the yellow up in there. This is hard with the light, but essentially, every orifice, you want to spray it in every orifice and get it coated as best you can. Every hole, make sure you get some coating in there. You can never have too much fluid film in anything. And you'll see it when you spray it in there, you'll see it through the holes like I said, but it's essentially just hit it. I just spray it till I get a universal sheen. Like I said, I put it on pretty heavy because we're in a pretty heavy salt area. The drive shaft's okay. Hit that. Carrier bearings, all this. Obviously, it's just going to burn off the exhaust. Try not to get on the exhaust system. You get a little bit on there, it melts right off. On top of the fuel tank. Essentially, that's what you should see when you have a good application, is a yellowish film, and you know, around some edges I tend to put a little heavier around the edges, and I'm just going to work my way around coating the entire vehicle. About it. I'm just gonna do this whole process on this entire huge box truck here. I'm gonna go put my PPE on, my respirator, some gloves, just to keep, you know, it gets all over your hands and stuff, but it wipes right off. But I'm gonna put all my PPE on, and I'm gonna spray this truck, and then when I get done, we'll take a look one more time and finish out the video. Well, there we have it. The other side is coated really well. You can see the sheen here. I put about a gallon, or a little more than a gallon on the bottom of this Transit. It takes quite a bit to coat it because there's quite a lot of surface area, way more surface area than a standard passenger vehicle. But as you can see, it is very well coated up inside there, all the big cavities. It's all coated up in the cavities well, if you can see up in there. So this stuff will creep around here, and it'll get on everything and make another good coating for this next coming up winter. In the back, it's all coated really well, and I'm going to fire this thing up, clean it up, wipe any excess off the edges, and get it off the lift. Another winter is ready for this full-size Ford Transit, and hopefully it'll be rust free for years to come. So that's it on my fluid film video here at the Quick Speed Shop. I have some other fluid film videos. I have a whole playlist on fluid film / rust prevention if you want to see some comparison videos, some other vehicles I've done with the fluid film and surface shield and Woolwax. You can go check out those videos. There's a playlist on the channel here. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I got to get back to restoring my 80 Dodge truck, but if you need to protect your vehicle, I suggest using lanolin like fluid film or Woolwax or surface shield. You can't go wrong. A little prevention goes a long way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. We'll see you next time. Bam, saving cars from salt here at the Quick Speed Shop.